Why is it that almost everyone is chasing peace, yet almost no one feels peaceful? We have more comfort than any generation before us. More technology, more convenience, more opportunities, and yet more anxiety. Stay with me till the end, because the last few lessons will truly change your perspective on what peace really is and why most people never experience it. My dear friends, you wake up in the morning, check your phone, scroll through news, messages, notifications. Before your feet even touch the ground, your mind is already running a marathon. You are ambitious. You want to grow. You want to build something meaningful. You want success, love, recognition, security. And yet, somewhere deep inside, there is a silent restlessness. You may smile outside, but inside there is noise. And the truth is, peace is not missing from your life. Peace is misplaced. Today I want to walk you through 7 life lessons, steps on an inner journey that reveal why 99% of people fail to find peace. If you miss the last few lessons, you will regret it because they contain the heart of the transformation. Let's begin. Most people look for peace in the wrong direction. And this is where the whole misunderstanding begins. From childhood, we are trained to believe that peace is a reward, something that comes after achievement, after success, after validation, after applause. We grow up hearing things like, study hard now, you can relax later, work hard now, enjoy later, struggle now, peace will come later. But later never comes, because the human mind is designed to chase the next milestone. When you are in school, you think peace will come after exams. When you are in college, you think peace will come after you get a job. When you get a job, you think peace will come after promotion. When you get promoted, you think peace will come after financial security. When you achieve financial security, you start worrying about maintaining it. It is like running on a treadmill thinking you are reaching somewhere. Let me share something simple. Imagine you are thirsty and someone gives you salty water. You drink it. For a moment it feels like relief, but soon your thirst increases. So you drink more and more and more. Achievements without inner clarity are like salty water. They do not quench your thirst for peace. They intensify it. I once met a young professional who told me, when I was unemployed, I thought having a job would give me peace. Now I have a job and I worry about performance. I worry about competition. I worry about layoffs. I worry about what others think. He did not lack success. He lacked inner anchoring. Peace is not the byproduct of external control. It is the result of internal stability. But most of us are taught to control the outside world. We manage our schedules, finances, calendars, meetings, social media profiles. We carefully curate how others see us. But how many of us manage our thoughts? How many of us observe our fears? How many of us sit quietly with ourselves without distraction? We have mastered outer management. We have neglected inner management. And because of that, we keep running outward. It is like searching for your glasses everywhere, while they are resting on your head. The irony is, the very thing you are chasing is already within you. Peace is not something you achieve, it is something you uncover. Think about this. When does peace naturally arise in your life? When you sit by the ocean and just watch the waves. When you look at the sky during sunset. When you laugh wholeheartedly with someone you love. When you pray sincerely. When you help someone without expecting anything. In those moments, you are not achieving anything. You are simply being. Peace is your natural state when the mind is not agitated by craving and fear. But we are constantly told that more equals better. More money, more followers, more recognition, more influence. Yet no one tells us that more without meaning creates pressure. You see, when your identity is built on what you have, you are always afraid of losing it. If your peace depends on your bank balance, what happens when the market crashes? If your peace depends on your relationship, what happens when conflict arises? If your peace depends on your status, what happens when someone surpasses you? Anything that can be taken away cannot be the source of permanent peace. And this is not about rejecting ambition. Ambition is beautiful, growth is beautiful, success is beautiful, but they must be rooted in something deeper. When you build a house, the foundation matters more than the paint. You can decorate the walls beautifully, but if the foundation is weak, the first storm will shake everything. Your achievements are the walls. Your awareness is the foundation. Without awareness, even success feels heavy. With awareness, even struggle feels meaningful. The real question is not, how do I get more? The real question is, who am I becoming while I pursue more? Because peace is not a destination you arrive at after completing your checklist. It is a quality you carry within you while walking your path. Most people look outward because it is easier. It is easier to work extra hours than to sit quietly with your restless thoughts. It is easier to scroll through your phone than to confront your insecurities. It is easier to chase applause than to examine your loneliness. But real peace demands courage, the courage to pause, the courage to reflect, the courage to accept that maybe you have been running in the wrong direction. And here is the beautiful truth. The moment you turn inward even slightly, something shifts. You begin to realize that peace is not hiding in your future. It is waiting in your present, not in the next salary hike, not in the next relationship, not in the next vacation, but in this breath right now. Peace is not something you purchase. It is something you practice. And when you understand this deeply, truly, deeply, your entire life changes because you stop chasing peace and you start living from it. We confuse stimulation with fulfillment, and this is one of the quietest yet most powerful traps in modern life. Look around you. Everywhere you go, life is designed to stimulate you, distract you, keep you moving, keep you thinking, keep you chasing. Notifications ping, headlines scream, social media scrolls endlessly, entertainment is constant, even your leisure is planned and scheduled. And here is the problem, your mind never gets a chance to rest. Most people believe that activity equals meaning, that the busier they are, the more fulfilled they must feel. And yet, when the lights dim and the world is quiet, they feel hollow, restless, anxious, incomplete. It is like being in a candy store and constantly tasting sugar, never water. Pleasure comes in bursts, but it never satisfies the deeper thirst. You feel temporarily good, but ultimately empty. I remember a story from my early days in corporate life. I had a friend, brilliant, hardworking, always chasing the next achievement. Promotions, awards, recognition, he wanted it all. But every evening he would call me, exhausted and restless, and say, "I don't know why I feel so empty. I have everything I thought I wanted." The truth was simple. He was mistaking stimulation for fulfillment. His life was a constant loop of chasing external excitement instead of cultivating inner clarity. He mistook the noise of activity for the peace of being. Imagine your mind like a pond. When you are constantly stirring the water, the surface is turbulent, muddy. You cannot see the depth, you cannot see the clarity. But if you stop shaking, the mud settles on its own. The water becomes clear. Peace works the same way. When you stop the constant stimulation, the pings, the scrolling, the comparisons, the endless planning, your mind begins to settle. Clarity arises. Insight arises. Presence arises. And here is the catch: silence is uncomfortable. That is why most people avoid it. They are addicted to external noise because it masks internal restlessness. Sitting quietly forces you to face your fears, your insecurities, your unhealed emotions. And facing those truths requires courage. But true fulfillment, true peace is born there. In the stillness, in the pause, in the moment when you stop looking outward for meaning and start looking inward for awareness. Think about this. When do you feel genuinely fulfilled? Not momentarily distracted, but deeply satisfied. It is when you laugh with someone you love without thinking of tomorrow. It is when you help someone selflessly and feel the warmth in your chest. It is when you pause to watch a sunset or feel the wind on your face and notice the simplicity of life itself. It is when you meditate, pray, or reflect without expectation, just observing your own mind. None of these moments come from doing more. They come from being more present, from allowing yourself to experience life rather than just reacting to it. Most people fill their lives with external stimuli because it is easier than facing themselves. But every distraction is a mirror. It is showing you what you are avoiding, your own mind. So here is the subtle insight. Stimulation feels exciting, but fulfillment feels peaceful. Stimulation gives you energy that fades quickly. Fulfillment gives you a sense of completeness that grows quietly and steadily. The world will try to convince you that the louder, the busier, the faster, the more impressive your life is, the happier you will be. And yet, look closely. Most people are exhausted, anxious, and unfulfilled. The answer is not to run from the world. Life requires engagement. But the key is conscious engagement. Choose where your attention flows. Choose what you let into your mind. Practice moments of quiet, of reflection, of stillness. Step away from constant stimulation. Learn the discipline of presence. When you do this, you begin to understand a profound truth. Peace is not in what you do. Peace is in how you are. It is not in external noise, but in internal clarity. It is not in constant movement, but in mindful being. And here is something most people never realize. Until it is too late, you cannot find peace while constantly shaking your own mind. Stop shaking. Let the mud settle. Watch the water become clear. And then you will finally see yourself and your life as it truly is. If you think this is a small insight, remember, most people never stop shaking the pond. They never stop. That is why 99% never find peace. But you have a choice. You can pause. You can stop. You can let clarity and fulfillment emerge naturally, quietly, steadily. And that is the bridge to the next lesson. Taking responsibility for your inner world, rather than blaming the chaos outside for your restlessness. We avoid responsibility for our inner world. This is where most people stumble in their pursuit of peace. They look everywhere but inside. They blame circumstances, other people, society, or fate for the turbulence in their mind. And until they take ownership, peace remains elusive. Think about it. How often have you said, I can't relax because of my boss? I am stressed because of my parents. I am unhappy because the economy is bad. I feel unsettled because my relationship isn't perfect. We live in a culture of external blame. And blame is seductive because it gives us a sense of justification. It makes the world responsible for our suffering. But here's the bitter truth. Peace is never in the external world. Peace is in how you respond to it. I remember a story from a family I once visited. The father was constantly angry at the world. He blamed his job, his colleagues, even his own children for his stress. His children in turn were anxious and fearful because they grew up in constant tension. But then the father met someone, a mentor, who asked a simple question: who owns your thoughts? Who is responsible for how you feel? The father paused. No one had ever asked him that. Slowly, he began to see that all his anger, all his anxiety, all his restlessness was a product of how he reacted, not of the world itself. He couldn't change the job immediately. He couldn't control every outcome, but he could control how he responded. Peace begins the moment you take that ownership. The moment you say, I am responsible for my mind. I am responsible for my reactions. I am responsible for my happiness. This is a radical shift because most people expect the world to shape their inner life. They hope conditions will improve and then, finally, they will feel peace. But that's like planting seeds and expecting the rain to do all the work while ignoring the soil. You must cultivate your inner soil. Imagine two people caught in the same storm. One becomes bitter, resentful, complaining, hopeless. The other feels challenged, alert, calm, and resourceful. Both are facing the same storm. The difference? Not circumstances. Response, ownership, awareness, responsibility. This is also true in relationships. How many conflicts arise because people expect the other to act differently? They wait for their partner, friend, or colleague to change, and only then will they feel calm. But while waiting, they live in tension. While waiting, their mind is unsettled. Now consider this. What if peace were your responsibility, independent of anyone else? What if it were not conditional on circumstances? You would no longer be a victim of the world. You would be the steward of your own inner temple. There is immense freedom in this realization, because no matter what happens outside, you can always return home to yourself. You can always settle the storm within. You cannot stop the waves of life, but you can learn to surf them gracefully. This does not mean denial of challenges. Life is real, pain is real, loss, conflict, and disappointment are real. But how long you remain in suffering is up to you. You can allow circumstances to dominate you, or you can dominate your circumstances through your awareness and response. Most people avoid this responsibility because it is uncomfortable. It requires courage, it requires honesty, it requires reflection. It requires looking at one's own mind without excuses. And let me tell you, facing yourself is always harder than facing the world. But it is also infinitely more rewarding. Once you accept responsibility, peace becomes possible. Because you stop giving your power away. You stop waiting for the world to be perfect. You stop expecting people, events, or outcomes to dictate your inner state. You reclaim your own mind. You reclaim your own life. The moment you take ownership, everything changes. The same situation that used to trigger anger now becomes an opportunity to practice patience. The same criticism that used to hurt now becomes a mirror for growth. The same failure that used to crush your spirit now becomes a teacher of resilience. And here is a subtle but profound insight. No one can give you peace. No teacher, no mentor, no relationship, no success, no money, no meditation app. Peace comes when you accept full responsibility for your inner world. So today, make this a promise to yourself. I will not let the world dictate my peace. I will take responsibility for my mind. I will master my reactions. I will cultivate my awareness. And I will nurture calmness as a daily practice. This lesson, the responsibility of your inner world, is a turning point. It is the bridge between external struggle and internal mastery. Without it, all other lessons remain shallow. With it, every challenge in life becomes an opportunity to deepen peace. And now, as we move to the next insight, prepare yourself. Because the next lesson is one of the most common and destructive habits of modern life: comparison. It quietly erodes happiness, steals contentment, and keeps people restless, even when they have achieved success. We are addicted to comparison. And this is perhaps one of the most silent, invisible thieves of peace in modern life. Most people do not realize it because it does not roar, it whispers, it creeps in when you're scrolling your phone, sitting in a meeting, or even lying in bed. They are ahead of me. They have more. They are happier. They are better. From childhood, we are trained to compare grades, achievements, popularity, success, relationships. Comparison is everywhere. Society encourages it. Social media amplifies it. And slowly, almost without noticing, your mind becomes a comparison machine. But here is the hidden cost. Comparison is never neutral. It always generates a sense of insufficiency. When you measure your life against someone else's highlight reel, you feel smaller, you feel inadequate, you feel restless, you feel unsettled. I remember a young woman I once met. She was brilliant, kind, compassionate, and successful, yet she was miserable. She would say, "I feel like everyone else is doing better than me. I see their achievements online, their vacations, their perfect families, and I feel behind." I asked her, "Have you noticed that you are only seeing the surface?" She nodded, "Yes, but even the surface affects me." Exactly. Comparison does not need the truth. It only needs perception. And perception is enough to steal your peace. Imagine running a race while constantly looking sideways. You do not look at the finish line. You do not notice your own pace. You stumble, you fall, you lose focus. That is life under comparison. You are constantly distracted, constantly judging yourself, constantly measuring yourself against someone else's path. And yet, this is entirely unnecessary because your journey is unique. Your challenges, your victories, your experiences, your timing, they are yours alone. Nature never compares a river to another river. Each follows its own course, each flows in its own time. Yet humans constantly judge their river against another, forgetting their own current has its own beauty and purpose. Peace arises when you stop competing with the world and start competing with yourself. When your focus shifts from who is ahead to am I growing, am I learning, am I becoming better than I was yesterday, this is a radical reorientation. It transforms restlessness into curiosity, envy into inspiration, anxiety into mindful awareness. Because when you stop measuring your worth against others, you reclaim your attention, your energy, and your life. Let me share a simple practice. Every time you notice a pang of comparison, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this helping me? Is this true? Is this my journey, or am I trying to live someone else's story? Almost immediately, awareness loosens the grip of envy and insecurity. Comparison also distorts gratitude. You cannot feel grateful for what you have if you are constantly counting what you do not have. You cannot experience joy when you are measuring your life against others. Gratitude is the antidote to comparison. Awareness is the antidote. Ownership of your mind is the antidote. And here is a subtle truth most people never grasp. The world will always have someone better, richer, smarter, prettier, more connected. There is always someone ahead, and there is always someone behind. It is a constant, endless cycle. Trying to beat it externally only deepens frustration. The only path to peace is internal. You see, comparison is like walking with weights attached to your ankles. You try to run towards success, love, happiness, fulfillment, but the constant weight of "I am not enough" drags you down. Remove that weight, stop the comparison. Lift your mind, walk freely, run lightly. Most people resist this lesson because comparison gives the illusion of motivation. If I see someone ahead, it will push me to do better, they say. But this motivation is cheap. It is fueled by anxiety, not purpose. True motivation comes from inspiration, from curiosity, from love for your own journey, not fear of being left behind. When you internalize this lesson, life shifts profoundly. You stop living other people's scripts. You stop chasing external approval. You stop giving power to social media, gossip, or societal pressure. You begin to live consciously. You begin to honor your own path, and this naturally prepares you for the next lesson, acceptance. Because when you stop comparing, you begin to accept your own life, your own timing, and your own journey without constant judgment. You begin to see life as it is, not as you think it should be. Comparison is the thief of peace. Awareness is the gift of peace. And you can choose awareness, you can choose clarity, you can choose presence. We resist acceptance. And this is one of the most overlooked reasons why 99% of people fail to find peace. Most of us spend our lives fighting reality. We resist what has happened, what is happening, and what we cannot control. We say, this should not have happened. This is unfair. Why me? But resisting reality is like swimming upstream in a river that is too strong. Every stroke is exhausting, and progress is slow. You expend all your energy fighting the current, yet you are still carried away. That is exactly what resistance does to your mind. It drains your energy, clouds your judgment, and steals your peace. Acceptance does not mean approval. Let me say that again. Acceptance does not mean approval. It does not mean you condone injustice or stop taking action to improve your life. Acceptance means acknowledging reality as it is, without exaggeration, without denial, without emotional distortion. I remember a young man who came to me frustrated with his career. He said, I've worked so hard, yet I am still not recognized. I feel like life is against me. I asked him, what if life is not against you, but just happening as it happens? What if your suffering is the result of expectations, not reality? He looked puzzled, but slowly he began to see the truth. By resisting reality, he was creating a second layer of suffering, one that was entirely unnecessary. The injustice of life was painful enough, but the mental struggle to fight it amplified the pain tenfold. Acceptance is the first step to freedom. It is like opening the hand that is tightly gripping anger, fear, or disappointment. When you let go, you realize that what you are holding on to has no real power over you until you allow it to. Think about a storm. You cannot control the wind or the rain. You can curse it. You can fight it. Or you can carry an umbrella and walk through it gracefully. Acceptance is the umbrella for your mind. It does not stop the storm, but it allows you to navigate it without being destroyed. The beauty of acceptance is that it transforms suffering into clarity. When you accept, you stop wasting energy on denial. You see the situation as it is. You make better decisions. You act with wisdom instead of emotion. And in that clarity, peace begins to arise naturally. Most people never practice acceptance because it feels like surrender. They think, if I accept, I am giving up. But true acceptance is not weakness. It is strength. It is the courage to face life as it is, not as you wish it would be. It is the strength to say, I cannot control everything, but I can control how I respond. Let me give another example. A woman I met had been grieving the loss of her father. She tried to resist her grief, distract herself with work, avoid memories, and pretend everything was fine. But the more she resisted, the heavier her heart became. One day she allowed herself to feel the pain fully, to cry, to remember, to honor the loss, and in that moment she experienced an unexpected peace. Acceptance had not erased the grief, but it had released the struggle against it. Acceptance is also deeply connected to impermanence. Life is a constant flow of change. People leave, jobs end, circumstances shift, health fluctuates. Fighting these changes is like trying to stop the sun from rising. It is futile, but accepting the flow allows you to live fully in the present, to respond wisely, to cherish what you have now, rather than lament what has passed or fear what may come. And here is the subtle insight. Acceptance is the bridge between peace and discipline. Once you accept life as it is, you can begin to consciously act rather than react. You can create habits, set boundaries, and cultivate awareness, all without the heavy burden of resistance. Resistance breeds frustration, anxiety, and regret. Acceptance breeds clarity, focus, and calm. Resistance keeps you trapped in the past or the imagined future. Acceptance anchors you in the present. So practice this. When something difficult happens, instead of immediately resisting, pause, breathe, observe, acknowledge what is. Say quietly in your mind, "This is the reality, I accept it. Now what can I do?" This simple practice is revolutionary because most people never stop to accept. They resist, they react, they complain, they fight, and their inner storm continues unabated. Acceptance is not passive, it is active awareness. It is the foundation on which inner peace is built. And if you master this, life stops being a relentless battlefield and starts becoming a conscious journey. And now, as we move into the next lesson, prepare yourself. Because the next step, inner discipline, is what turns acceptance into transformation. Without discipline, acceptance alone may give temporary relief, but it will not create lasting peace. We neglect inner discipline, and this is one of the quietest reasons most people fail to find lasting peace. They believe peace is spontaneous, that it will arrive if life becomes easier, if circumstances improve, or if they finally get it all right. But peace is not accidental. It is cultivated, practiced, and nurtured through disciplined awareness. Think about your daily life. You brush your teeth every morning. You follow routines for hygiene, meals, work, and even exercise. Yet, how often do you exercise the same discipline with your mind, your emotions, your thoughts? We spend so much energy managing our schedules, checking off tasks, pleasing others, but we rarely manage the inner world. And as a result, the mind becomes like an untended garden, weeds of worry, fear, and restlessness grow unchecked. I remember meeting a young professional who was successful by every external measure. She had a great job, a loving family, and financial stability. Yet she was constantly anxious, easily irritated, and never fully satisfied. She confessed, "I meditate sometimes but not consistently. I read spiritual books but only when I have time. I know I should manage my thoughts, but I get distracted." The truth is simple. Discipline is the bridge between knowledge and transformation. Without it, even the best insights remain theoretical, like unplanted seeds. Imagine a river flowing freely. Without banks to guide it, it floods, changes course, and erodes everything in its path. Discipline is like the riverbank. It channels your energy, focuses your mind, and prevents chaos from overwhelming you. Inner discipline is not about rigidity or suppression. It is about creating freedom through structure. It is about saying no to what distracts and yes to what nourishes. It is about making small conscious choices consistently, every day in every moment. This includes reflection, taking time each day to sit quietly, observe your thoughts, and check in with your emotions. It includes gratitude, deliberately noting the blessings in your life rather than taking them for granted. It includes self-regulation, noticing impulses and choosing responses instead of reacting unconsciously. It includes intentionality, deciding where your attention goes, rather than letting the world dictate it. Let me give you a story. I once met a monk who every morning woke up before sunrise to meditate, reflect, and serve others. He lived a simple life, Yet he radiated peace in a way that was impossible to ignore. I asked him, "How do you remain so calm amidst chaos?" He smiled and said, "Because I practice discipline daily. I train my mind like a gardener tends his garden. Without daily care, even the most beautiful garden becomes overgrown. Discipline transforms acceptance into transformation. You can accept life as it is, but without discipline, the mind will still wander into resentment, distraction, and worry. Discipline channels acceptance into conscious action. It turns insight into habit. It turns reflection into peace. Most people avoid discipline because it requires effort and consistency. They want shortcuts, a motivational video, a weekend retreat, a pep talk, but true transformation is slow, steady, and internal. It is like building a temple brick by brick. You cannot rush it. You cannot skip steps. And here's the subtle truth. Inner discipline creates freedom, not restriction. It frees you from the tyranny of your own mind, the chaos of unprocessed emotions, and the exhaustion of constant reactivity. When your inner world is disciplined, you are no longer a puppet of circumstances, moods, or distractions. You are the conscious steward of your life. Discipline also prepares you for the ultimate lesson, remembering your spiritual identity. Without discipline, it is easy to forget who you truly are. The mind becomes cluttered with comparison, fear, and attachment, and you lose connection with your deeper self. But discipline clears the path. It allows awareness to flourish, insight to deepen, and peace to root itself in your very being. So cultivate discipline not as an obligation, but as an act of love for yourself, for your mind, for your life. Start small. Meditate 5 minutes a day. Journal one reflection each evening. Practice one deliberate act of self-control. The ripple effect will transform your days, your weeks, your months, and eventually your entire life. And when you master this, you arrive at the final lesson. The deepest reason why most people fail to find peace, forgetting their spiritual identity. It is here that all previous essence converge, and the heart of true unshakable peace is revealed. We forget our spiritual identity. And this is the reason why 99% of people, despite success, comfort, and knowledge, remain restless. They chase fulfillment in external achievements, material gains, relationships, or experiences, but they forget the most fundamental truth, who they truly are. We are not just bodies moving through life. We are not merely minds chasing thoughts. We are not only personalities shaped by circumstances. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our essence is eternal, infinite, and unshakable. When your identity is built only on temporary things, your job, your money, your relationships, your image, your peace is temporary. It is fragile, conditional, and always at the mercy of external forces. One setback, one criticism, one loss, and the foundation shakes. I remember a young man who had achieved everything he thought would make him happy. Wealth, accolades, a social circle, travel, recognition. Yet he felt hollow. One day he confessed, "I thought if I got everything I wanted, I'd finally feel complete. But even with everything, I feel empty. What is wrong with me?" There is nothing wrong with him. What was missing was remembering his essence, the truth of who he is beyond achievements, beyond the roles he plays, beyond the temporary joys and sorrows of life. Your spiritual identity is the anchor that allows you to navigate the storms of life without being tossed by waves of fear, anger, or restlessness. It is the silent center that observes everything, the unshakable witness to the passing drama of life. When you align with this identity, external circumstance lose the power to disturb your inner peace. Success becomes joyful, failure becomes instructive, criticism becomes neutral, and loss becomes a teacher. You no longer identify with every thought, emotion, or situation. You are aware. You are steady. You are present. Think about this metaphor. The sky is vast, infinite, and calm. Clouds appear, storms come, winds blow. But the sky itself is untouched. It does not struggle against the clouds. It does not resist the storm. It simply remains vast, still, and eternal. That is your spiritual identity. The clouds, your thoughts, emotions, situations may come and go, but the essence within you remains unshaken. Most people live as if the clouds are the sky itself. They identify with passing moods, fleeting successes, or temporary failures. And that is why peace eludes them. But when you remember your essence, everything shifts. Anxiety loses its grip. Comparison loses its power. Resistance softens. Discipline becomes a joyful practice rather than a burden. You no longer seek peace outside because you discover that peace was within all along. This is why spiritual practice is not optional. Meditation, prayer, reflection, acts of service, these are not rituals. They are reminders of your true nature. They reconnect you to your essence. They ground you in what is eternal, unshakable, and real. And here is the most profound truth: when your identity is rooted in the eternal, fear naturally takes the last place. Greed, envy, anger, and restlessness lose their control. Your mind becomes steady. Your heart becomes expansive. Your actions become conscious, compassionate, and aligned with deeper purpose. Peace is not a destination. It is alignment. Alignment between your actions and your values. Alignment between your ambitions and your compassion. Alignment between your success and your soul. When you remember who you are, every lesson we have discussed, looking inward, managing stimulation, taking responsibility, avoiding comparison, practicing acceptance, cultivating discipline, becomes natural. Each step, each choice, each moment is infused with awareness. Each breath, each interaction, each challenge becomes an opportunity to live consciously, joyfully, and purposefully. And the beauty of this realization is that it is available to everyone at any moment. You do not need permission, approval, or perfect conditions. You simply need to pause, reflect, and remember. I am more than what I do. I am more than what I have. I am eternal. I am present. And I am at peace at my core. When you live from this truth, you no longer chase peace. You create it. You nurture it. You embody it. And that peace, my dear friends, is unshakable. It is timeless. It is the foundation of a life lived with purpose, awareness, and love. So, as you move forward from today, let this be your guiding principle. Peace is not hidden, not distant, not conditional. It is within you, waiting for you to remember, align, and live from it. And when you do, no storm outside can disturb the calm inside. Happiness is not about having everything. It is about being grateful for everything you have. True success is living consciously, joyfully, and purposefully. And the most profound peace arises when you simply remember who you are. So, my dear friends, if you take only one thing from everything we have explored today, let it be this: true peace is not found in achievement, approval, or the applause of the world. It is found in remembering who you are, a spiritual being having a human experience. When you root your identity in something eternal, you stop giving power to fear, comparison, and restlessness. You stop seeking peace outside because it blooms from within. Every challenge is now an opportunity. Every setback is now a lesson. Every relationship is now a mirror for growth. And the most beautiful part, you do not need perfect conditions to live this truth. You do not need a perfect job, a perfect relationship, or perfect circumstances. Peace, joy, and purpose are not gifts of the world. They are expressions of your alignment with the divine, with the eternal, with love, with truth. So today, take responsibility for your mind. Pause amidst chaos. Accept what is. Discipline your inner world. Stop comparing. And most importantly, remember, you are not merely this body, not merely this mind, not merely these circumstances. You are eternal, you are loved, you are guided. And when you live with this awareness, you will see life transform. Storms may come, setbacks may arise, but your heart will remain steady, your mind will remain calm, your soul will remain unshaken. Faith is not blind hope. Faith is the quiet certainty that no matter what happens outside, God or the divine essence that created you is guiding, protecting, and loving you. And when you surrender to this, fear naturally takes the last place, and peace naturally takes the first. So, my friends, live consciously, act with love, and carry this truth in every breath. I am not the waves, I am the ocean. I am eternal, I am guided, and I am at peace. And when you live from this truth, everything else in life falls into its right place.